Could the Gunners pull off the signing of the summer? Or is this just another dream that goes nowhere? Okay, stop what you're doing for a second. Arsenal, Kvaratskhelia, a potential transfer that could completely change the direction of this football club. If you're an Arsenal fan and you're not at least a little bit excited right now, check your pulse. Because this story, if it actually happens, would be one of the biggest moves in Premier League history this decade. But hold on, before we get carried away, let's talk about this properly. Is this real? Is it realistic? And does it actually make sense for Arsenal? Let's break it down. First, who even is Kvaratskhelia? If you somehow don't know who Kvaratskhelia is, let me paint you a picture real quick. Imagine a winger who gets the ball, looks his defender in the eye, and just goes. No hesitation, no fear. He dribbles like it's personal. He makes defenders look silly in ways that make you rewind clips 3 or 4 times just to understand what happened. He burst onto the global scene at Napoli a few years ago and was one of the main reasons they won Serie A in the 2022-23 season, their first title in over 30 years. The whole world sat up and noticed. People were comparing him to some of the best in the world. And the hype? It was completely deserved. Then PSG came calling in January 2024. They paid around £59 million to bring him to Paris. And within 6 months of joining, 6 months, he was lifting the Champions League trophy. The man is literally a winner everywhere he goes. He's 25 years old. That's the important part. He's not a prospect anymore. He's not raw talent. He's a finished product who is right now entering the absolute best years of his career. Prime Kvaratskhelia is what you're getting, and Arsenal reportedly want a piece of that. So what's the actual story here? According to reports from The Independent this week, Arsenal are genuinely exploring the possibility of signing Kvaratskhelia from PSG this summer. Now, exploring is doing a lot of work in that sentence. It doesn't mean a bid has been made. It doesn't mean talks are advanced. But it does mean Arsenal's people are thinking about it seriously enough to start looking into how something like this could work. Transfer insider Fabrizio Romano has consistently flagged Kvaratskhelia as one of the most watched players in European football right now. While a confirmed Arsenal move hasn't been locked in by Romano yet with his iconic "Here we go," the broader picture in the market points to several top clubs keeping a very close eye on his situation at PSG. Romano has noted that Kvaratskhelia's camp are open to listening if a serious project comes along. And that's a small but important detail we'll come back to. So it's not nothing, it's real enough to talk about. Why do Arsenal even need him? This is the question that matters most to me, because transfers don't happen in a vacuum. You need to understand why a club wants a player before you decide whether it makes sense. Arsenal have had 4 consecutive seasons competing at the top of the Premier League. 4 years of being in the title race. That sounds brilliant, and it is. But it also means 4 years of massive physical and mental demand on the same group of players. These players are tired, not just end-of-season tired. Deep down, accumulated over years tired. Add to that the fact that there's a World Cup this summer, which takes even more out of the players who represent their countries. By the time pre-season rolls around, some of these Arsenal lads are going to be running on empty. So changes are needed. Real changes, not just 1 or 2 signings to top up the squad. Actual quality additions that raise the ceiling of what this team can do. And when you look at where Arsenal most need to improve, the left wing keeps coming up as the answer. Think about it honestly. Leandro Trossard has been solid, dependable, a good professional. But is he the guy who's going to unlock a Champions League title or a Premier League winner's medal? Gabriel Martinelli has the energy and the desire, but his consistency has been a real problem. Some games he's unplayable, other games he barely exists. Arsenal needs someone on that left side who makes defenders genuinely scared. Someone who changes the game on his own. Someone who, when he gets the ball in a big moment, you feel like something is about to happen. That's Kvaratskhelia. That's exactly what he is. Does he actually fit Mikel Arteta's system? This is where it gets interesting for me. Arteta's Arsenal like to press high, move fast, and work in tight combinations. The wide players don't just get the ball and run at people, they have to be intelligent, positionally aware, and willing to do the dirty work too. Now, some fans might look at Kvaratskhelia and think he's just a flair player, a highlight reel merchant, but that's actually not true when you study him properly. At Napoli, under Luciano Spalletti, he played in a very structured system that demanded intelligence from the wide forwards. He wasn't just told to go dribble, he had specific responsibilities, press triggers and positional duties. At PSG, under Luis Enrique, who, by the way, is also a coach who demands hard work from his attackers, Kvaratskhelia has continued to show that he's not just about skill. He presses, he tracks back, he makes runs in behind. He's an actual footballer, not just a trickster. So yes, I think he fits. Actually, I think he could thrive in Arteta's system in a way that very few other wingers in world football could. Imagine Kvaratskhelia on the left, cutting inside, combining with Martin Odegaard, and then bursting into the box. Imagine the space that creates for Bukayo Saka on the right. Imagine what it does for the whole team's confidence when you have that kind of player in your side. This isn't just a good signing on paper. This is a signing that makes every other player around him better. That's the real value. Can Arsenal actually afford this? Short answer, yes, probably. Longer answer, Arsenal are in a genuinely strong financial position right now. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire recently explained that Arsenal have one of the lowest wages to revenue ratios in the entire Premier League. They're not throwing money around recklessly, they're not in debt trouble. They're fully compliant with UEFA's financial fair play rules and the Premier League's own financial regulations. Maguire said directly that Arsenal are in a position to be very competitive in the summer window. That's not media spin. That's someone who studies the finances of football clubs for a living, telling you that the Gunners have real money to spend. Now, Kvaratskhelia won't be cheap, not even close. PSG paid £59 million for him 18 months ago. He's performed brilliantly since then. He helped them win the Champions League. His value has gone up significantly since that deal. You're probably looking at somewhere in the region of £80, 100 million or more, to even get PSG interested in a conversation. And that's before you factor in wages. Arsenal can handle that financially. The question is whether PSG will sell at any price. Here's the big problem, PSG don't want to sell him. Let me say that again more clearly. Paris Saint-Germain have absolutely no interest in letting Kvaratskhelia leave. As things stand right now, they view him as one of their most important players. He's a key part of how they play. He's under contract until 2029. They are not in a desperate situation financially where they need to sell anyone. This is the wall Arsenal would have to break through, and it's a very solid wall. Now here's where the Fabrizio Romano details become relevant again. Romano and other reliable sources have indicated that while PSG aren't looking to sell, Kvaratskhelia's personal camp, his agent, his close circle, are at least open to hearing about projects that feel like a step forward. That's a small crack in the door, but a player's camp being open to something and a club actually agreeing to sell are two completely different things. PSG can simply say no, point to the 2029 contract, and that's the end of the conversation. Unless Arsenal come in with a number that makes PSG blink, and that number would have to be enormous. Is Arsenal willing to break their transfer record for this? That's the real question. And honestly, I think if Arteta and the board truly believe Kvaratskhelia is the player who takes them to the next level, they should at least try. What about the players who might leave? This is actually a big part of the story that doesn't get talked about enough. Arsenal are reportedly open to selling several players this summer to raise funds and free up wages. The names being discussed include Ben White, who has struggled for consistent minutes and might benefit from a fresh start. Miles Lewis-Skelly is another one, young, talented, but not getting the game time he probably needs right now. Gabriel Jesus is another likely departure. He's in the final year of his contract, and the injury record has been really difficult. It makes sense for both parties to move on. Then there's the ongoing uncertainty around Trossard and Martinelli. If Arsenal do bring in Kvaratskhelia for the left wing, where does that leave Martinelli? Where does that leave Trossard? These are questions that need answers. Selling players isn't just about raising money. It's about building a cleaner, more focused squad. Arsenal don't need to carry players who aren't going to feature regularly. Getting those players sold to good clubs, getting decent fees for them, and using that money, plus Arsenal's existing resources to fund a big signing, that's smart business. If they sell White, Lewis-Skelly, Jesus, and maybe one of the attackers, they could potentially raise £80, 100 million in sales alone. Combined with their existing financial strength, a move for Kvaratskhelia becomes much more financially achievable. Let me ask you something, be honest with yourself as an Arsenal fan for a second. Do you think the current squad, as it is right now, is capable of winning the Premier League next season? Not challenging for it, actually winning it, because I look at this squad and I see a team that's good enough to finish second or third consistently, maybe occasionally push City or Liverpool all the way to the wire, but to actually cross the line and win the title, something is missing. That something is a player who does the unexpected. A player who breaks the game open when it's stuck at 0-0 in a big match. A player who does something in the 70th minute that nobody saw coming and completely changes the result. Kvaratskhelia is that player. He's the kind of signing that doesn't just improve Arsenal, it signals to the whole Premier League that Arsenal are serious about winning now. Not building toward it, not nearly getting there, actually winning. And don't you think Arsenal fans deserve that after 4 years of so close but not close enough? My honest take, look, I'll be real with you. This transfer is going to be very difficult to pull off. PSG are not easy to negotiate with. They don't need to sell. Kvaratskhelia is happy there from all reports, and getting him out of a contract that runs to 2029 would require either a massive fee or some kind of agreement that I'm not sure PSG would ever agree to. But difficult doesn't mean impossible. Arsenal have surprised us before in the transfer market. They went and got Declan Rice when people said West Ham wouldn't sell. They've shown they can move quickly and decisively when the right target is identified. If Arteta genuinely believes Kvaratskhelia is the missing piece, and from everything I can see left wing is the missing piece, then Arsenal should go for this hard. Put an offer on the table, make PSG say no officially. And if they say no, respect it and move to the next option. But at least try. Because safe transfers don't win Premier Leagues. Bold moves do. Final thought, whatever happens this summer, Arsenal cannot afford another window of almost there signings. The fans have been patient, the players have pushed themselves to the limit. Arteta has done an incredible job, but the time for nearly winning is over. Kvaratskhelia would be a statement, a real one, the kind that makes rival fans genuinely worried about what's coming. Can Arsenal actually get this done? Honestly, right now, it looks unlikely. But football has surprised us before. And if there's even a small chance this happens, I want Arsenal to chase it with everything they've got. What do you think, though? Is Kvaratskhelia the right player for Arsenal? Or is there someone else you'd rather see the Gunners go after this summer? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about this.